Today's show is brought to you by catconnection.com. Purchase all of your homebrewing supplies and draft beer equipment with everyday low pricing and everyday flat rate shipping at catconnection.com. Go to catconnection.com right now and use our promo code HHH to receive 5% off your order. That's catconnection.com, promo code HHH.
Entertaining shows with content that spreads information and sparks discourse throughout the community. This is the Pearl Media Network.
Welcome to the Homebrew Happy Hour. This is the show where we supply the answers to your homebrewing questions and discuss all things related to craft beer. If you have a question that you would like discussed on a future episode, visit homebrewhappyhour.com and click on the Submit a Question link at the top of the page. Or now you can call or text them in by using 325-305-6107. I am your host, Joshua Stubing. Today I'm joined by the Director of Operations at cmbecker.com, Mr. James Carlson, as well as the President and Chief Keg Washer at kegconnection.com, Mr. Todd Burns. Gentlemen, how are y'all doing today?
James, go ahead.
I always wait for you, and then I answer after you. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Y'all are way too polite.
I'm doing well. I'm also doing well. Excuse me, Josh.
Yeah, well, what? Excuse you for interrupting me? You've never apologized before.
You interrupted me. You asked me how I was doing, and then you talked over me again.
Oh, no. We're going to get complaints. We're gonna... I didn't know if you were making an inside joke or not, but I have been accused by a listener. To be fair, it's less than a fraction of 1% of all of our, we have a lot of listeners that I'm really surprised that we still have. A very small but vocal minority have accused me before of talking over everybody and demanding the attention. I think was his exact words. I swear on my life, I asked my wife, I said, "Are you submitting feedback?" I said, "What the hell, honey? Are you this is your, what's your Gmail, babe? Did you get a side Gmail, or is this your boyfriend's? Is this somebody I don't know?" It was your wife, Sancho at gmail.com. Anyway, I am so happy to see you guys. I'm very excited. Like we said last week, we do have a booth now for the 2019 National Homebrew Convention, also known as #HomebrewCon in Providence, Rhode Island. We have booth number 719. The ball is rolling. We are beginning to get our stuff together. We're beginning to figure out how to get it up there. Todd, I think I punched Todd in the face when I showed him the cost associated with getting our booth up there this year. Are you recovered from that fully yet, Todd?
Well, we determined a new way to do it, right? So I think we're good.
We did, or we're figuring it out. And what it means is he canceled my plane trip, and I'm now trailering up there in a Toyota Prius for gas, but with a trailer behind it, so it's not going to be so fuel efficient. But no,
That'll be fine. You're just limited to 45 miles an hour, but it's not that far.
Yeah, it's not that. It's funny enough. I did offer. I'm basically over my fear of flying in regards to it affecting my life. When we fly, I don't ever put up a fight anymore like I had before, way in the past.
I think the Germany flight helped.
I don't know if you remember, I wasn't conscious for that flight. either way, I was I first drank a little, and then probably against most doctors' recommendations, I popped a couple of Tylenol PM, and then I drank a little more, and then I was out. I don't remember. I remember you being real pissed at me, Todd, because you couldn't sleep, and I was just next to you, like.
When you didn't sleep any.
When you had to sit back up there with us commoners.
Right. Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah. I can sleep in any position. Like your business class seats, y'all go freaking prone.
Yes.
I can't believe you can't sleep there in that position.
No, I can sleep some there. Yeah.
But anyway, booth 719, come see us if you're there between June 27th through the 29th in Providence, Rhode Island. We hope you're there. We have still not put up a sign-up sheet because I want to get our stuff in, or I want to get the proofs and the confirmation. We're ordering koozies for sure for the show. and I just haven't gotten a proof back yet. So I don't want y'all to sign up for something like the voicemail thing that I'm about to go into has got me so scared now. And I swear, regardless of what Todd thinks, I do double check my work sometimes before I jump the gun. And so I don't want y'all to sign up for the freebies we have until I have freebies for you to sign up for. But I know I saw James has stuff at the CM Becker booth. I'm excited. I know for a fact you have those little flashlight things.
Yep. We got the little micro flashlights. They come in handy when you're brewing.
Those are super cool, and they came out really nice. I was super impressed because you told me you're like, oh, they weren't that much, and then for what you paid for them, they came out really nice.
Yeah, I think they're going to be we've got plenty to give away, so we won't be short of anything, I don't think.
And then I know I've seen it posted on their Facebook page. Brewer's Friend for sure has decals that they're giving out. They look really nice. Maybe I've been brainstorming like I threatened last week on how when I'm in charge of the Brewer's Friend booth, how I might be able to not sabotage it, but maybe give away some of their stuff. I'm going to see if Lorena would be open for us doing some drawings with the podcast for free licenses. I don't know how many, maybe we can give a handful of free licenses out to people because I really do. I think that, well, one, I like to give other people's stuff away, as Todd can testify to, but also I think when people use the software, I think that's how you convince them or convert them, rather, don't you think?
Yeah, I agree.
Well, James, you've used all of them, so yeah,
I love it. It's the best by far, in my opinion.
And Todd,
hey Josh, I need to talk to you after the show about the koozie too. I have an idea.
Oh, see that? Good. Maybe it's a good thing we haven't gotten the proof back yet, and I haven't used Todd's money to pay for things.
Yeah.
I did also, though. I was a bunch of stickers. We have a bunch of little knickknacks too. The shirts are not necessarily out of the picture, but pricing went up tremendously, and so I don't know all the details. But when we have something to sign up for, it'll be at homebrewhappyhour.com/sign up. I believe it's one word. It might be sign-up, but they'll both go to the same page. So whatever you type in, I'll make sure they work when that is active. Let me see. What else do we have? Oh, I had people write in requesting more videos. If you go to youtube.com/homebrew happy hour, all one word, you can see that we're starting to add a lot more content, a lot more videos, and I would love to hear from you. You can either email joshua@homebrewhappyhour.com. You can use the submit a question form at homebrewhappyhour.com, or you can also text or call 325-305-6107 for how-to tutorials, whatever videos you think we should do in the future, because really we're producing content because we want to be of service and help. And so if you have a specific topic or something you'd like us to do a specific video on, we would love to do that. I know, James, you get hit up all the time by people. Like lately, I think a lot of people, your video on comparing all the three popular electric all-in-one brewing systems has gotten so much attention, and a lot of the feedback has been, hey, you talked about how you rigged your mash and boil. Can you show us? So we have to do that video.
Yeah, we definitely need to do something like that, because it's just a simple pump and some silicone hose and your imagination. It's fairly simple.
Yeah.
I can do it. Anybody can do it.
No, don't.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
He's every time he shows me something, he's like, he starts out by going, this is really simple. Let me show you here real quick. And then I'm sitting there with my mouth wide open.
Whatever.
But last time I was up there, or 2 times up ago, maybe, he showed me the innards of your control panel. Yeah. And he said that was his opening line. It's real simple. Opened it up. I'm like,
Yeah. There was actually drool coming out of the side of your mouth as you were looking at it.
Yeah, well, that's just because I have a problem. Thanks for embarrassing me on the show. But his simplicity to James is MIT level to me. But
no, it's just lots of simple circuits is all it was. Just a whole bunch of them crammed together in one box.
It looks intimidating. If you wanted to go with that, you're this genius or whatever, we all believe you because you play it off well. I mean, I think you are, but you're way too humble about that. I don't have any other small talk stuff except that last week I solicited people to call in their call or text that phone number. Again, I'll put it back up on the screen. To tell us it was National Homebrew Day a couple days ago, and I wanted to hear.
Oh, we got recordings. That's going to be great. I can't wait for that.
Todd, I haven't gotten there yet. That's not nice.
Sorry.
That's not nice. I solicited people, and a few days in, I had gotten an email that said, "Hey, I didn't get a reply. I didn't know if you got my voicemail. I'd love, because we give gift cards when we use people's content on air. We give you a gift card to whoever the show sponsor is for that week." And so they're like, they were kind of pushing me like, I'd really like that gift card. Are you going to use my content? And I said, man, I don't have a voicemail from you. And then I looked, I was like, I don't have a voicemail from anybody. This is a huge failure. Nobody, we have all these listeners and nobody's replying. And it turns out our Google Voice inbox messed up. So like I thought last week, I said, I got that resolved. You can do it. I've tested it. Give me your content. A couple days later, get another email. Same exact person who said, I don't know if you're messing with me, Josh, because you haven't replied back to me yet. Again, if you don't want to use my content, that's fine. Just reply back if you don't mind. And I said, I don't know if you're messing with me because I don't have a voicemail from you. And it turns out our Google inbox has just been screwed up, totally messed up. No one can leave a message. We haven't gotten any. And so I was freaking out, and all through the night, people were getting text messages from me. It took me a while to realize I shouldn't text people at this time of the night because they're probably thinking I'm some weirdo and it's a number they don't recognize. But I was just saying, hey, I saw that there was a missed call from this number. If you were trying to leave a voicemail for National Homebrew Week, or pardon me, National Homebrew Day, and get your gift card or whatever, just text it back to me, and we'll put it, if we put it on the show or whether we don't, because you tried, I'll give you a gift card. So I have feedback in text form, and I took what is this? This is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like 6 of them that we're going to go over and discuss, and then all the other dozens and dozens of people, they did also get their gift cards. So a good reminder: 1, when you submit a question, we take it on a future episode, you do get a gift card. And 2, when I screw up, just magnificently, as I often can do, no comment from you, Todd. You also benefit from that. So this is a good week. Everyone's going to be happy, Todd.
It's a win-win.
Do you want us to, James and I could disguise our voices and read them in different voices?
You do have them in front of you. I would love that. Todd, you take the female one, which is the third one. I say that now I'm being judgmental. I don't know. Lynn is one of those. It can go either way, right? I think I've known men named Lynn. I think I've known women named Lynn. Anyway, let's start off by reading some of this feedback and discussing it. And again, we hope that Big Brew was Saturday. We hope you had a good brewing weekend. And for Tuesday, I don't know why, if May 7th is always National Homebrew Day, or if it's always falls during the week, because that's an awkward time. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll drink, but a Tuesday was a random day. But anyway, here's some of y'all's feedback that we received. What I love about homebrewing: drinking delicious beer. Thanks for the great podcast, from Josh K. That's an excellent point. The more you brew, the more you drink. Y'all right now at headquarters, I think Todd last week said y'all have 45 gallons fermenting right now. Is that accurate?
Let's see. No, we did 15. We did 15 gallons Friday, so we have 60 gallons.
60 total gallons.
Yeah.
Sorry, my mouth opened a little.
Oh wait, we kegged the lemon drop pilsner, so it would be 45.
We've already drank that. So.
Yeah. And then
you didn't want to try any of that, did you, Josh?
No, that doesn't sound appealing to me. Of course, I wanted to try it. Y'all never leave the good beer. Is there any Kolsch on tap, by the way, for when I get there?
We have some that's going to be kegged Friday.
You're going to be drinking Winter Warmer again.
No, he said it's going to be kegged on Friday because I'm going to be up there Monday. So,
Actually, we do have some lemon drop pilsner here in the brew room.
James, I'm supposed to tell him that.
That's not nice. Moving on. Second thing about what you love about homebrewing, or what it's done for you. Mark M wrote in. He said, like Joshua, I brew with my dad. It has been an incredible bonding experience. I added that because, I included his in this week's show because I do think that brewing is it's a very accessible hobby, and it's very inclusive. Like, if I had grandparents alive, I would try to get them involved. I have aunts and uncles now that are starting to brew. I know, James, you had a big community of brewers. You've gone in and out of community of brewers. Todd is like one of the best evangelists ever for home brewing. He gets a lot of people in.
Hey, I am brewing this weekend with my buddy Eric, and he is the first person I ever homebrewed with when I was too young to be homebrewing.
That's so cool.
Maybe 16, 17.
Where'd y'all get your supplies when you were brewing?
It was the Co-op grocery store in Austin, Texas.
Wow, a grocery store.
I can't remember the name. Something Co-op in Austin, Texas. It'll come to me in a minute.
Really? Wait. So what year would this have been? I'm just trying to get you to date yourself.
Well, it would have been about 1983, and I can still remember the name of the beer because it was me and Eric and Paul Dubois, and we called it Du Bervener.
Wow.
Great.
Wow.
Du Bervener beer. Yeah.
That's such a creative, it sounds like something a 15-year-old or like,
16.
We know what we should call our band. Oh, let's take a third of each of our last name. Oh my gosh, Tom.
Du Bervener, yep.
James, who were you? Did you brew your very first batch by yourself, or was it
all
with the group?
by myself? I had a couple of friends from work that came by, and I remember they just thought I was nuts. They thought it was bathtub gin. It wasn't going to turn out, and they laughed at me the whole time. But they were kind of right at that first batch was pretty bad. But I got better.
Yeah, thank God for the rest of us that caught you at this time of your life, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Only they could see me now.
Yeah, brewing is an incredible bonding experience. I agree, Mark. Brandon P. wrote in, I love brewing my own beer because it allows me to create the exact beer that I want to drink, assuming I don't F it up. And he actually wrote out the F word. But this is a family show, Brandon. But excellent point. When you homebrew, the sky is the limit, especially when you start all grain brewing, I have learned. James,
yes, absolutely. You have a little more control over exactly what kind of mouthfeel, body, sweetness, taste, all of that. It's really great to have that kind of control for the most part with all grain. And you can achieve a good bit of that with the extract brewing. There's nothing wrong with extract brewing. You can steep grains and all that, but I prefer to be able to mash at the temperature I want to mash. Gives it a different profile. It's wonderful. I love it.
Yeah, and Joshua of 10 years ago, almost 11 to the day. Todd, it's almost been 11 years. When I started working for Todd, May 12th of 2008, I remember he brewed maybe a month after I had started an extract batch, but I remember I don't really want to get into it because there's beer that done by professionals that can do it better than I can. And I just might as well give them my money because I'm not going to be saving money, especially if you value your time. But over the last decade plus year, I have come full circle, or I've come rather turn 180 to where I like, especially now with all grain, I like how, yes, Founder's Breakfast Stout is my go-to beer, but I could, in theory, brew it and make it more of, if there was any complaints, and I'm doing air quotes for audio listeners, that I'd have about the style, I could more or less resolve that, right, James, during the brew process. You can clone, for you, your alt, your best version of alt to you is probably very similar to Schlussel, but still uniquely your own because of whatever it is you've done.
Yeah. Well, not here lately, but man, that's a hard beer to brew.
Can we not talk about alt beer with James right now?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go there. I am so sorry. But we are going to have it on tap. No.
We're going to have a version of my alt beer on tap. How about that?
Oh, the highlight. I'm going to take the GoPro and we're just going to have a 45-minute highlight video of James explaining himself as he serves.
I will be.
Well, the reason
apologizing for that beer.
And the reason it's going to be funny is because people are going to be complimenting you, telling you, oh, it's delicious. You'll be like, well, but it's not how it should be. And then Todd will be actually. I could get Todd to run camera because that's like your dream scenario. Todd is making us in awkward positions.
Yes,
that's what it reminds me of my wife when she doesn't like something and she tries it and makes this horrible face and spits it out, and then she takes her fork and takes a bite of it and pushes it towards me, and she's like, "Here, try this."
Oh yeah, oh yeah. My wife too. If I ever hear my wife say, "Hey, smell this," I run away. Like, that's not. I know she's messing with me. That's not. She's not doing. There's never been a good outcome from here. Try this or here. Smell this. Never.
It's usually not a rose.
No, never a rose. No. Now that we have kids, it's usually stinky diapers or something. Like mine. Like anyway. Yeah. Let me rant real quick, honey. As if I could smell something and diagnose my kid or something. Like, what do you think this smells like? It smells like poop. It smells like poop. Anyway, sorry, I was going off track there. The next one came in from Lynn, who wrote, I'm still very new to homebrewing, but appreciate how welcoming the online community has been, and especially your podcast. Lots of awesome info for us noobs. Not to keep tooting our own horn, but to address the first part, yes. For the most part, 99% of people are incredibly welcoming in the homebrewing community. We've all had our unfortunate run-ins with the craft beer snob, but they exist, period.
Yeah. They exist in anything, you could say, but I totally agree.
But there's a lot more of them in some things.
Certainly. And I think we're fortunate that in homebrewing, there is not a lot of them around, or at least not in my experience. Now, someone may be listening and going, no, that's bullcrap. Where I live, they're all a-holes. But I don't live around a bunch of a-holes, or I don't interact with a bunch of a-holes. To be fair, I don't interact with a bunch of people. So maybe there's some correlation there. But I love Homebrew Talks community. I love the subreddit for homebrewing, even though they don't love me, or the moderators don't. If I had a nickel for every lashing I've gotten from those guys, just let me post, man. Just let me post. But Homebrew Talk, Reddit, I'm trying to think of other online communities. There are a gazillion Facebook groups that I've been added to where people are, the fervor to brew has never been higher from my observations, and the support of a community has never been stronger, thanks to technology, and probably thanks to just, we're living in a very peaceful time. Like, people are just very welcoming, and they want, they want to share their passions and hobbies, and they want you to participate. And so, I would say, if you want to be a good steward, Lynn, as a new person, to do the same welcoming to others that you feel has been done to you. That's the best thing you can do for homebrewing to grow it, is to share your brew, share the craft with your friends and family, and answer their questions. Or have James along and have him answer their questions. That's kind of been what I've done for the last few years. But anyway, moving on, the next one came from Matthew D. He wrote, brewing beer is a rewarding hobby that I love sharing with my friends. I don't have any plans on going pro, but I like that I can brew enough to keep me happy. He nails it. That's like my thought exactly. I have no plans to, I always joke about the brewery, the brew pub only having alt and only having Kolsch. Realistically, that wouldn't happen, because I think running a brew pub is like a full-time job. That sounds terrible, Todd.
Yeah. In fact, today I got an email from Wes. His equipment's ready to be shipped for his new brewery.
No way.
Yeah. And you're right. Todd and I were talking about this last week. I think a lot of people don't, if they sit down and thought about it real long and hard, man, that's a lot of work.
So Wes is a guy that we know locally that's opening a homebrew, a brew pub, opening a brew pub.
Right.
And we're behind him, but very far behind him.
Yeah.
Very far behind him. See, what? All right. What is his system? How many barrel is it?
Well, we were trying to determine that.
I think on paper it's
8 or 10 barrel. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you want to just talk about it, batch size, I think Todd figured it out. It's about an 8-barrel system.
Okay. Todd obviously had a gaffe, and I want to expand on that embarrassing gaffe, calling Wes a homebrew setup. God, how embarrassing. But at what level does it become? Because he is brewing his own recipes. I believe, James, you're helping him with recipes, aren't you?
Yeah, a little bit. He's kind of taken the ball and ran with it for the last few months, and he'll come by and drop by work and have a sample what he's done. And Todd, I don't think I've had a bad beer yet from him. Have you?
Yeah, we're his guinea pigs. He brings his brews by all the time, and he wants us to taste them. And usually I'm like, I don't know. I didn't get a good example of that. Do you have another bottle we could break open?
Exactly.
And it's very, very good. He's brought it by the house when we were brewing. He's brought it by here, and it's he's doing some really good beers. I'm excited for him. But on the other hand, I see how much work it is. It is a lot of work. I mean, he is working nonstop. He still has his full-time job, and he's trying to get this set up. He is, I don't know how many hours he's working, but it's
a lot.
A lot.
At what level, though, of brewing does it cross that threshold? Or I guess actually I shouldn't even say that. I know the answer. You become a pro when you pay your state all the licenses and permits to be able to be able to sell your beer. You could brew in any quantity and that still be the truth, right? That's the answer. Is when you have permission from the state, then you are a pro. A lot of people, in my experience, have that dream, though, of going pro. James, before you started with CM Becker, was that because you were a serious brewer? You had a big old system. Y'all were brewing.
Yeah, we built a 1-barrel setup. Actually, it's a barrel and a half because we could do about 45 gallons. That was probably as most as I could get out of that system. But yeah, I actually thought about it. But at that time, it was white hot. Microbrewers or white hot equipment was out of this world expensive, and it was a cost issue. Couldn't raise the capital to do it.
Todd, do you would you ever want to, in your wildest dreams, open up your own brew pub or microbrewery or nano brewery or whatever? Or are you very content with where you're at in the industry?
I had a meeting with my banker about a month ago, and
this is funny, by the way.
And he asked me that very question. And I said, Jeff, if I ever come in here and sit down and tell you that I want to make a fairly large loan because I'm opening my own brew pub, I would like you to find the two biggest, baddest guys in your entire bank and just have them come in here and kick the crap out of me. Just kick me down on the floor and just start, kicking me and hitting me and whatever you have to do. I want to be bloody by the time I leave. When you throw me out the door.
Yeah, drag me out, spit on me, and embarrass me. Now, I in an alternate universe where I didn't like to not be, I don't know. I think running, I have friends who own restaurants, and I see the stress on that. And so I can only imagine it's very hard in my total, just, taken out of my butt opinion right now. I think it's very difficult to run a microbrewery and not have a lot of other lines of revenue, as such as a kitchen or food trucks on site, or being able to serve your beer there, or being able to have beer to go, which is not necessary. Is it possible in Texas? I forget. You can through growlers and crowlers, but you can't take like 12 packs, right? I forget. Our state is archaic, man, with alcohol laws. But I know it seems like a huge headache to run a brewery by itself, much less worry about making rent or all that other stuff that comes with being a business owner. I'm very happy just putting in my time working for the man who happens to be a co-host on this show. So Matthew, I'm with you. I don't have plans on going pro, and homebrewing though still allows me to enjoy good quality craft beer and brew it in batch sizes that make sense for my purposes, which 10 gallons is turning out to be perfect. So I'm glad, Todd, that you pushed me into 10 gallons, by the way. It's working out.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Sometimes, what is it? A blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then, or I forget.
When you say pushed you, I think I gave you that stuff, right?
You know, but I mean, I told you I just wanted to brew in 5-gallon batches. Look, I'm not talking let's all pat Todd on the back, benevolent. No, you really are a good guy, but I don't want to.
Can I have it back since you didn't obviously?
So the next,
I'll take it.
So the last part of the show, you already have. Hey, wait a second. Anyway, one of the last ones, which I included, and you'll know why after I read it. But he also then asked a question. So let's start with what he texted in. Timothy J. wrote in, "The podcast is great, and Joshua is easily my favorite part. He is such an inspiration to me, and I know if I keep sucking up to him that he'll read this on the show. What an amazing guy he is. Our listeners have caught on, man. They have really caught on. They know my soft spots, and they know how to get Todd's money. So, Timothy, though, I did bring a question for today's show, and I'm going to start it right now. Timothy did write in an actual question. He wrote in and said, hey, now that you guys have been brewing on electric systems for a while, does it change how you approach your brew day? Besides from the obvious things like not needing to make sure you have propane or room on your stovetop, what do you like or dislike versus the ways you used to brew? Do you still recommend brand new brewers start with extract recipes, or do you feel comfortable recommending full-blown spite systems to a brand new brewer? Thanks for the podcast. I hope Josh got my voicemail. Cheers, Timothy Johnson. I didn't get your voicemail, did get your text. But James, I want to throw it to you first, only because I believe out of the three of us, even though I know Todd has a ton of experience brewing in all the ways you can, you have started like in extract.
I started with a kit in a can.
A kit in a can.
And had a horrible experience with that.
You've done partial mash.
Yeah, but I started in, this was back in about year 2002, something like that. And there wasn't a lot of resources there. YouTube was just beginning, and a lot of it was trial and error.
And then
I learned a lot by messing up a lot.
You did, right. And we're no stranger to that. Your mess ups, that is.
Yeah, exactly.
But you also then moved up as you went to all grain. You went to a lot larger scale all grain. And now you're on a very sweet electric 3-tier system.
Yeah, the Spike system is amazing.
So from your perspective, what do you think in regards to your...
I think the tried and true ways of learning how to brew, which start out with kit in a can and mini mashes and all the way up into all grain, is the way to go. Because that gets you comfortable. Because I don't know if anybody would be comfortable socking $5,000-$6,000 on a Herm system and then expecting results because of what you have. You still have to know a little bit about what you're doing, recipe wise, mashing temps, and there's a lot more to it than just buying the system, throwing some grain in warm water, and turning the pumps on.
You know what? That's a good point, and I interrupt you only to say, because home brewing can be incredibly cost efficient and cost prohibitive. And if you don't know that it's something you want to do, a batch in a can can just get you used to the idea of brewing in general, what fermentation looks like, that process.
And to be fair, those canned recipes have gotten a lot better than what they were back when I was, because you have to think there wasn't a lot of people brewing. So I never thought to look at the date on the can, so I could have been trying to make beer out of a can wort that was 3 or 4 years old. So, also I would also say that if you do kit in a can beer, just know it'll get better as you go into more experienced brewing. You will continuously see progress in how your beer looks, tastes, and smells, and the whole thing. So don't get discouraged by, you're not going to have a gold medal beer the first time you do one, but you can have something that's my measuring stick was this. If I could, at the end of the day, sit down and enjoy a glass of that beer, maybe it wasn't the best beer in the world, but if I can enjoy it and I made it, it made me happy.
And Todd, you, not counting your illegal days of brewing, or maybe counting it, you started as well with the stovetop kit, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think that it would be probably very difficult for somebody to start out the other way, because there's so many things going on, and it really helps, because when you start out with a canned kit, it's very simple. But when you go to the extract brewing method, where you're putting the actual hops in and all those things, you're doing the same steps that you do later when you're doing an all grain. So instead of having to take the whole thing in at once and try to do the process all together, you learn in little baby steps, so that when you do get to all grain, half of what you're doing you already know how to do. Whereas if you just jumped into all grain, I think we forget how complicated it would be for somebody to start with all grain, just because we've been doing it so long now that we're just used to all those steps.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that is something when I was brewing the Kolsch with my dad, made the point to be like, so basically we're just like everything up to the point of the boil is foreign to us, but it's all been done in extract. And I think the question was more or less like, well, why don't we just keep doing extract? It's like, well, so we can have more control over the end result of the beer. Being also too, because of cost, all grain brewing is incredibly more affordable than extract is. Getting the liquid malt extract or dry malt extract is just a little bit more expensive. So, and you also don't have that kind of control. And so I was just telling him like, yeah, you're right. It becomes extremely familiar once we get to after we sparge, then it's all, you're like, oh, we've done this a million times already. And, when you have that kind of muscle memory from doing extract, it does help you focus your attention on the mashing and the sparging when you go to all grain. And I think it's a good compliment because then we're only 2 all grain batches in, and I'm already super comfortable with all grain brewing. Like to a point to where if we do another Kolsch, I won't have to bother James because I'll be like, oh, I already remember how we're doing this. Like it's pretty straightforward. And the more you do it, the more muscle memory it becomes. I don't have the kind of experience you guys have where all we did was partial mash and now we're at all grain. I agree though with the points like y'all were saying, specifically. Cost is my huge thing. I'm known as Mr. Frugal or cheap ass, as my wife lovingly calls me. Brewing, again, like the cooler brew system is that for me is that impulse price range for all grain brewing. It's affordable. I won't say cheap. That's relative. It's affordable and it will last as long as you take care of it. The spite systems are wonderful. They're beautiful. They're fantastic. Y'all's, I love when I get to be up there while you're brewing. They don't say buy once, cry once for nothing though, right? Like,
yeah. There is.
Well, I mean, I have the James system, which was very affordable for me because we stole most of the parts. And,
I like that.
Yeah, the James system was a very, very good system.
That was a good brew day. It did really well.
It did really well, except for the failure of the epoxy, 2-part epoxy finish that I foolishly got from my brother for free, and it was probably expired, and it failed miserably, and I had to basically sand the bottom of not sand, but brush the bottom of my kettles and blah, blah, blah. So I have a brand new tile countertop now.
Oh, it looks good.
Yeah. And the James system is back up. Hey, we'll get some photos of that up because I'm actually going to put together, I've got the fermenter, which is Spike, and I'm going to elevate that. And we should be able to get maybe some video and photographs and, maybe Josh, I could send them to you and you could put them up there on that worldwide web.
The interwebs, right?
Yeah.
I don't know about that interwebs. Yes, despite good plug there. The CF5, that is like what y'all have them at the headquarters, and now Todd has one in his own brew barn. That would be for me. My next big purchase is going to be a conical fermenter, I believe.
Oh yeah, you got to have one.
Yeah, I don't think I need I'm happy with how we're brewing, and we brew outside. It's okay. It's undercover. It's enjoyable. My dad's little pavilion area. The cooler system is great. It's rewarding. It makes me feel accomplished. Yada yada yada. But so it's like getting an electric system isn't on my priority list. My priority list is. Convert that walk-in in my dad's game room or convert it to a walk-in. That's number one. Number two is conical fermenter. But I think we would tell me what you think, James. Should I get the 10-gallon fermenter, or should I do 2 5s, even if we're brewing in 10-gallon batches?
That's a tough one. If you're doing 10-gallon batches, I would get you always want to be able to ferment what you can brew in one batch.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would get the bigger one.
Yeah, I'd get the big one for sure.
And I've got that. I mean, we've got on the one here and the one at home, although the one at home's not quite working yet. We have the glycol hooked up to it. And, it's a game changer. I mean, it is just a game changer. You're so controlled on everything. Of course, if you have the walk-in, you don't have to have that because you can put the whole thing in the walk-in.
Sure. Yeah. But having that, Todd's got UBC chiller, so he can lager immediately. He can do a diacetyl with it, which means bringing the temperature back up, and then he can cold crash. It's great, and also works pretty cool as a bright tank as well. So you can hook it up with gas once it's done. Once you're done fermenting, you cold crash it. You can hook it up on gas, and by the time it's ready, clarified, it's carbonated.
The one I have, I just closed it up because I don't have the ability to chill it at the moment, and the coil was in there because we thought the glycol would be working. It's a long story, but we didn't get the actual glycol liquid in. But I took the coil out, put the cap on it, and what's really cool about it is that it's all contained. So once I sealed it up after it fermented, now it's built up pressure, and the beer's already carbonated, and I haven't even put CO2 on it. It's just naturally carbonated.
Yeah. That's another thing you can do too. You can stop in like 2/3 of your fermentation, close it up, and let the yeast carbonate it.
Oh man, y'all. Okay, I want to buy one. Do you think Spike takes personal checks, and do they follow directions if I tell them not to cash it till a certain date?
I don't know. I can email Ryan and see.
Yeah, I'll email Ryan. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you would actually order it through Keg Connection, so that means that because you're not a dealer, that means that you would write us a check. Oh crap.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Todd, you're good. You know, if I asked you not to cash it till what's today? Today is the 9th. Todd, maybe wait till November if you don't mind. I just paid Uncle Sam, so I'm not buying crap right now. I just bought a drum set because my wife thinks I'm having a midlife crisis, and by family history, this is midlife for me, so maybe it's right. I don't have money for a fermenter right now, but that is next on my list. Let's wrap up Timothy's question because we are going for a while. What do you like or dislike versus the way you used to brew? Todd, you first.
Boy, I mean, I think it's just a progression. I think that I don't dislike the way I used to brew. I think that I've just progressed to a different place now. I would still enjoy doing an extract recipe tomorrow. I mean, I think I enjoy the cooler brew a lot. I think that's a great way to brew.
It is.
I think part of the reason we've progressed to where we are is just because we can and we should, because we need to learn more about it. But I don't know that I would have ever set up that system if I wasn't in the business and everything.
True. Me either. Yeah, it was easier for me to go with that big system because it was just a gravity flow. We didn't have pumps. We didn't have electric elements. We had a big burner, a big cooler, and big pots, and that's all there was to it.
I like it.
But I'll tell you what I do miss a little bit about doing extract is there's not near as much work involved.
That's the truth.
Time too.
Yeah.
Time and cleanup, man. Yeah, my pop and I have learned now. Our brew days have a couple extra or few extra hours added to them when you count all the sanitation and the cleaning and just literally the time to mash and sparge. It is a lot more time, but in the same breath, if I go back up to some of the feedback we got, like what Mark M had wrote in about loving to brew with his dad, it gives me, for me, I'm like, that's a lot more time, but it gives me more time. I like spending time with my pop. It turns out he's not the jerk I thought he was growing up.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, he's still not lending me any money like I'm asking, but he doesn't spank me anymore, and he can't ground me anymore, so that's cool. No, spending time with my pop has been easily the best, most rewarding part about brewing. So the extra hours of, even though you know what? I was about to fib. I was going to say, even though I end up doing all the work, that's not true. He actually does. I hope he's not listening to this because he's going to wisen up and go, wait a second. All I do is stand to the side and just small talk and make little jokes, so he thinks I'm involved. But Todd, you're no stranger to that, my friend.
Shh, don't mention that around James.
Yeah. Oh yeah. See, Todd and I are cut from the same cloth.
No, neither one of y'all. I brewed with both of y'all, and you're very good at helping. Very good.
Oh, James, I love your willingness to lie for the show. Guys.
Especially Todd. Now, he can say what he wants, but he works his butt off when we brew.
Oh, I was saying, yeah, when I filmed y'all, no fooling both, I was very impressed with, I thought y'all choreographed the chores of the brew day, but y'all just naturally were like, I'll do this and I'll do this.
Yeah, he's great to brew with. He reads my mind, what I'm thinking needs to be done, I'm turned around, he's doing it. So he's a great brewer.
A real
Yeah,
go.
we enjoy brewing together. It's really fun to brew together. We should brew with you sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to come down. We could do a video on Todd's system, and we could show them how you can build your own system.
Bingo.
I'll do the recording, and then you can assist Josh while he brews on the system. That would be fun.
Oh, Todd, that's a great idea.
Yeah, but he's going like this.
You ruined it, James, because audio listeners would have thought I was being serious. Yes, I would love to. And actually, James, that is a fantastic idea. One, people have been begging me to show what you used for the control panel. And I know you borrowed a lot of resources online. I think one being the Electric Brewery, correct? I think you got some info from him on doing the things. I know you used I forget.
Yeah, there was a lot. That's the good thing about the internet now as a whole, is there's lots of resources. So I went and just kind of read just anything and anybody that did a write-up on a Herms electric system. And there's some things that I took little pieces out of everything and kind of put them all together. Some of it probably do different than I did, but for the most part, I think it turned out fairly decent.
Again, best time in human civilization to be alive and be a homebrewer. I've said it a million times. All right, guys, that will do it for today's show. Friends, I thank you for joining us this week. Todd, James, I will see you guys soon. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to drinking all your beer, Todd.
I do too, I guess.
See ya.
Oh, that was real heartwarming. Then that will do it for this episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. If you have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, visit homebrewhappyhour.com and click on that submit a question link at the top of the page. Or now you can call or text in your questions by using 325-305-6107. Thank you to our show sponsor, catconnection.com, for supporting our podcast and the homebrewing community. Go to catconnection.com, use the promo code HHH, and you'll receive 5% off your order. On behalf of Todd Burns, James Carlson, and the Pearl Media Network, I'm Joshua Stubing. Thank you for listening.